by design. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Super fair.
All right, let's get to, let's see here. Let's get to Dr. Sabah. What up, Sabah? How are you?
Sabah.
Hey, guys.
What up, Doc?
Just driving around a little bit, and I was listening to the No One's in Charge couple there. So,
Wow.
and then you mentioned Nail's Twitter, how, Doc always makes fun of him.
Yes.
And I was like, dang, I should have made mine harder to find. Mine's a little too easy.
Everybody, as you told us the other day, you're now a living legend at FedEx Field. Everybody walks around and they say, there's that Dr.
She's
Sabah.
got a whole police escort with her.
Yeah, only if I talk. They're like, are you Sabah? I'm like, yeah, oh, God, yes, I am. So it was fun, though. I had a great time. All right, let me see. I have my answer. You kind of took mine. I was going to say Airbnb, but I had a backup plan. But then I have a question for you guys, or a theory. So since you took Airbnb, I'm going to take Cheeseman, because I think a bad snap could be the end of.
I like that
turning point.
And that was one of my fears for this Sunday when when I thought they would just come up short. I like that. Okay.
Right. And I got a question and theory. I feel like, you know how the Tide, you went from running and then it went to a passing league, and now it's a quarterback league. And scoring usually what determines who goes to the playoffs and who goes to the Super Bowl. It's the best offensive teams. I don't think defense kind of wins championships anymore like it used to. But my theory is I'm starting to see the tide turn, in that we are paying quarterbacks so much money, and we are paying defensive people who rush the quarterback so much money, that I think the defensive linemen are just out-talenting all offensive linemen across the board. And no matter what kind of goodies you have on quarterback and wide receivers, if you can't get the playoffs, offense is going to suffer. And that's what I see. I see the tide turning where our offenses are now getting hurt, even though they're highly paid, because they don't have time to throw. And the offensive linemen cannot guard these elite athletes on defense. Am I wrong there, guys?
No, you're 100% correct.
I think you're pretty much dead on.
And it's not, and as someone that was a defensive lineman, offensive lineman combo growing up, when it was time for me to get recruited by colleges and they were like, we want to play offensive line, we want to play defensive line, the sexier position is defensive line.
Absolutely.
It's just, it's more popular, it's more glorified.
It pays more.
It pays more. But to Sabah's point, I think because of the takeoff and the maturation of defensive linemen and edge rushers, the premium and the value of the offensive line should be higher than ever. That's a hell of a point.
Right. But, Linnell, let's line up our defensive linemen. Sweat, James Smith-Williams, Payne, Allen, and, who am I missing? There's a fifth one. Maybe it's just four. Okay. Anyway, Young. Is it Young?
Yeah.
Yang. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway,
the predator.
And then let's line up.
I like Doc twisting the knife in a little bit.
Yeah.
Love it.
Paul, let me see, Cosme, who we know is very good, and our right tackle, dang it, what's his name now?
Wiley.
I don't even know. Who's our right tackle?
Andrew Wiley.
Oh my God! I thought he was a guard. My bad.
No, they moved Cosme from right tackle to guard. He can play guard, but
I think she's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Well, let's just line them up. Okay, so you got our defensive lineman and you got the offensive lineman, and let's play a pickup game in basketball. What five are you picking?
The defensive side.
Right. Anything. Give me any scenario. The best athlete, the one who can jump the highest, run the fastest, the strongest, all that. Who are you going to pick? So we can't blame these offensive linemen around the league because they can't all be Trent Williams. And even Trent Williams, I'll tell you today, is not as good an athlete as Montez Sweat.
I'd beg to differ. I mean, in terms of what makes a good athlete, I think the combination of strength and athleticism goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I think Trent may be the best tackle to ever walk
if you
the face
line
of the
them
earth.
up 100 times one-on-one,
right,
they'd probably split it or pretty close. Think so?
Sweat's a power rusher, and Trent's not getting bull rushed.
Yeah, so I think no matter how sexy your offense is, your quarterback and your receivers, if you can't block, like against Dallas, it ain't going to matter what plays Eric Bieniemy comes up with. Because as we saw last year, I mean, our offensive lineman got annihilated.
Right,
by
but that's exactly the
point.
point why you have to get you can't have these longer developing plays. That's part of the problem. I think they got a little punch drunk trying to attack that Cardinal secondary when they went deep down the field on the first drive, or they had Diami on a wheel, basically motion jet, and then he continued almost in a wheel and he was wide open.
Yeah.
And then on the second drive, they drew a defensive pass interference to Terry for 35 yards in that same spot. I thought they maybe got a little bit greedy, if you will, trying to look downfield for the explosives. Sabah, we got to let you run. Appreciate it. As always, good to hear from Dr. Sabah. I'm going to give you a nugget